Hey Russell fam, in today's video, I'm going to show you what I'm using for my 7th grade curriculum. Be back in just a second. Hi, my name is Becky and welcome to our Russell's Loving Life YouTube channel. Here on this channel, we talk about homeschooling, homemaking, and everything in between. I am a homeschooling mom of 2 and I have been homeschooling since 2012. We also have a blog, which is russellslovinglife.com. Make sure to check that out. There, I give you tips and tricks and things that I have learned through my years of homeschooling. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing and clicking that little bell notification down at the bottom. That just lets you know every time we upload a new video. And if you are a returning Russell fam, we are so glad you are back. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the curriculums that I am using for my 7th grader. I am what you would call an eclectic. I grab a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I do what works best for us. A lot of homeschooling mamas have learned to do that over the years. At first, I highly recommend you use a box curriculum just until you learn your teaching style and your child's learning style. And once you learn that, then you'll know which curriculum works best for your family and your student. So let's turn this camera around and I'll show you what I'm using. Okay, I have been using My Father's World for 8 years. This is our 8th year. I love it and I have tweaked it to how it works best for us. So I use My Father's World this year for 7th grade. We are using 1850 to modern times. This is our Bible, our history, and our science. They do have suggested spelling and language arts, but that did not work for us. So I have something totally different and I will show you that. We are going to start with the teacher's manual. Sorry for the glare on that one. All right, when you open it up in the book, the first couple pages will tell you each week what you're doing for history and what you're doing for science. Just if you want to look at it at a glance, it'll tell you that all the way through week 34. And y'all know how much I love My Father's World if you have been around this channel for a while. Over here, it's talking about math and language arts for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. I will be doing additional videos for our language arts and our math that we use, because I do not use the language arts and math that My Father's World recommends. But here is the overview. Here's the read alouds. And here is the information that's going to be covered. Additional books and things that you may need that's not included in this package. But if you're using My Father's World, you'll have most of these anyway. Because I have gotten In God We Trust last year, Trials and Tributes a couple years ago. But when you buy the curriculum, they are listed down as add-ons if you do not have them, so you can get them. There's some teaching tips. Let me move my camera a little bit more, I'm sorry. All right, and if you are teaching a 2nd and 3rd grader, I just can't get this camera angle right. I am so sorry. If you are teaching a 2nd and 3rd grader, along with a 7th and 8th grader, here are the ways to adapt it to them. So you can read that right there. Here is the list of the Bible verses you are going to memorize each week. All right, and here, okay, we do a morning routine. We do not do a schedule, but if you wanted to do a schedule, My Father's World provides kind of a kind of one sample one for you to go through, that type thing, just if it works good for you. But like I've said before, schedules don't work for us. More of the routines do. All right, so we are going to get into week 1. If you have never seen the inside of My Father's World, this is what you're going to do for the entire week. And see, it tells you right here for Bible, you're going to use A Young Person's Guide to Knowing God, which is this book right here. And it's telling you that you are going to read the back cover and discuss it and read these Bible verses. And this is just kind of getting into the year. Here is your spelling. It says use your handwriting. This is kind of for the younger grades so they can practice the English if you're using their English. And here is writing that you do 2 days a week if you use theirs. I don't. Here's your book basket. Here's if you're doing 7th and 8th grade. And it always says see notes for hints and things for you. So let me show you. Over here on the back, here is for preparations and your materials, suggestions. And then once you get to Monday, this is actually what you're going to read and be ready to do for Monday on week 1. It starts out kind of slow and kind of goes over everything in there. Let's jump ahead to a little more in depth. All right, so we are here, and now it's telling us that we've switched books. This is the one we're going to use. And it tells us to read and discuss Matthew, read these pages. And it says see notes. So you flip over here on Monday for see notes. And here are your notes for Monday. And there's your notes for Tuesday. And this is why I love My Father's World. This is why it works so well for us. It's an open and go curriculum. I can just open this teacher's guide and go from there. So, all right, we've talked about the teacher's guide. Now let's go over to the students' worksheets. And typically what I do is I 3-hole punch everything here. I just have not had a chance to do that yet. And I put it in a notebook. And here's our timeline pieces that we're going to use for this year. Here's our Bible verses. There is all the postal abbreviation zip codes. If you're using the spelling, it tells you how to do spelling. Here are all of the state flags that go along with the worksheets. And what I love about the worksheets with My Father's World is right here, it'll tell you we're going to start worksheets with week 5 on a Thursday. This is the worksheet you're going to use. I'm not going to flip through all of the worksheets. I'm just kind of going to give you a glance. Here's the periodic table of elements. There's some more of the states. And on the back of the states sheets, it tells you lots of interesting information, the capitals, abbreviations, did you know, and all facts about each state and the history of the state, which is really interesting. Some of them have funny laws on the back of them. I think one year Louisiana was you can't walk an alligator on a leash or something like that. And one state law was you can't carry an ice cream in your pocket. And it was just funny that we went over some of these. But most of those are states because we are studying 1850 to modern times. I'm trying to get you some different worksheets so you can see them. Here, last year, this is where we write the president's name, the year of the president, and information about the president from our presidential cards that we have. Here they are. They came in last year's curriculum. So you look at the cards. Let me find you one just so you can kind of see. All right, we studied the first 12 presidents last year, so we're going to pick up with 13 through 45 on here. And there is the president, there is the date, and then it tells you information about the president. It even shows you their signature on the back of the cards, which is very fun and interesting. It tells you to tape them up here. I'm not doing that because I'm going to be using this exact same curriculum with Becca when she gets to 7th grade. So I want to be able to have these again. I'll probably have to get another updated deck with the presidents, but and you can also use them as flashcards if you wanted to, and that type stuff. So that's what these pages are for. We're learning about a whole bunch of them back here. All right, let's see. Here is flashcards for the northern states. Capitals, so you can match them up with their states. So more than likely this is just a game. I have not looked into it, but that's typically what they do, is fun games that way. There's your north, south, east, west. And then here are these little flashcards. We've had these before. It has the state bird, the state flower, and you can tear them out and break them apart. So that was a quick glance at all the student sheets. But it is much easier, I have learned over the years, to put 3 hole punch in here, and every time the student needs a sheet for that week, you take it out, and once they get done, I just put it in the back. And so once we used all the student sheets, the back sheets come to the front. All right, so you have seen those. Here are the CDs for music that we're going to be going through this year that go along with the curriculum. So, I mean, it's not just hands-on worksheets, it's music, it's books, it's a lot of Charlotte Mason living books. Here are the read-alouds that we're going to be doing. You know, the older they get, there's not many pictures in there, but I did want to flip through the books just so you could see them. Sorry, I went too fast. And if you don't have these books, like I didn't have for Becca's curriculum, then you can just check them out at the library, or you can buy them. And I'm just trying to give you all a thorough look at everything in here. I know some of them may not be interesting, but I did want you just to see the inside of everything. Just doing these pretty quick. And sometimes there's lots of pictures in them like this. Which makes the reading a little more interesting. For my children, at least. They love to be able to see actual pictures when they're reading things, and faces and places, and they can just relate to it a little better. So this one has the most pictures. Yep. All right, and one thing I am excited about this year is this is something new that they have not used in the past. It is Creation to Modern Times Timeline book, which you saw the timeline pieces, and they just kind of go in here. It tells you the years up here. And so what we have been doing, because creation started with Adam and Eve from the beginning, like this says, Creation to Modern Times Timeline. And the kids can color these the younger kids may have more fun. These are the blank pages with the dates where we're going to add stuff to them to pick up this year, which is pretty much going to be 1850 to the modern. But these are the ones we did last year, and what I have been doing, and they suggested that you put it on a wall and just kind of do a timeline. Well, having multiple children doing multiple grades at different times, I started with this. It's a trifold board. These are the states we learned about last year with Bailey, and then here is the timeline. Let me just move the camera. Here's the timeline we started with, where it was Adam and Eve, and we go all the way through here. And then as we've been going through things, we've just been adding them to this board. And this is where we left off last year with Bailey with the Louisiana Purchase. So I am loving the fact, loving the fact that I can put it in a book instead of having the trifold board, and it's all right here for me. So this is something totally new, and I am in love with it. All right, so the next thing I'm going to show you is Story of the World. We have been doing Story of the World with the My Father's World curriculum since I think we started with volume 2 back in the day with Bailey. But what I'm really excited about this year is we have the workbook to go with it, or activity book, whichever one you want to call it. But I love that Story of the World. It has pictures in here. It puts it kind of in a story so the kids can understand it. It's not just boring history information. Sometimes history can just be boring and dry and dull, but Story of the World makes it fun and interesting and puts it into words that the kids can understand, and they learn so much more from this. So, it's still in black and white, not colored, but I love Story of the World. If you're looking for a history, definitely look into Story of the World, and it goes through different time periods, so check that out. Here is the Story of the World activity book. Again, sorry about the glare. It is also in black and white, but there's lots of activities to do in here that you can see. So that should definitely be fun. And this Smithsonian American History book, lots of color. A lot of the books that we learn history from do have color in them and talk about different time periods. And if your child's reading it, typically it's 2 or 4 pages, but typically it's just 2 that cover one topic at a time that the children will read, or you'll read with them, and it just helps them picture things better. And a lot of children these days do not know about encyclopedias. If you did encyclopedias or had encyclopedias, drop me a comment below, because I know I'm getting really old when people look at me crazy when I say encyclopedias. All right, and Apologia. I love, love, love Apologia. Hands-on science. It is fun, lots of experiments. I will be doing some videos and experiments from this book, because history and science are 2 of Bailey's favorite things. Here's the introduction, how to use the book, the step-by-step guide, and then your lesson 1. And typically with My Father's World, you will use science. You'll do science 2 days a week, and they'll break this into sections instead of just covering the whole complete chapter. And then once you get to the end of the chapter, then there's typically the science experiment that you'll do. You know, try this. Lots of fun things. Lots of pretty colorful pictures in here. And there's a supply list back there, sorry, for each lesson, which I love. So you can go through and get everything that you're going to need for those experiments coming up, or see if you already have them. But if you have not heard about Apologia, you've got to check into them for science. They are fun and amazing. So many wonderful things to say about them. Let's see, there's an experiment to tell you what you need to make a smoke bomb, grow crystals. Those are always fun. I'm not sure who has more fun with the science experiments, me or the kids. So much fun. So there is that. All right, now we are into our states and capitals, which this is going to be fun. It comes with a CD that has all of the songs on there to memorize. It comes with the map. I'm not going to open it all the way, but it matches the capitals over here with all of the numbers. So I can put it on the wall and use it, and use our DVD, CD to listen to all the songs on there. This cookbook is going to be fun. Like I said in the unboxing, I plan on doing some of these recipes, which my kids love to cook. They love learning to make new things. It talks about Victorian tea. Let me get up here to the front of the book. All right, and it's talking about tools of the trade, different tools they're going to need. And here is broken down the table of contents with all the chapters. So it's not just teaching them how to make something, it's teaching them how to use all of the tools and what of all these are called. So lots of fun learning things hands-on here. And I didn't open this all the way because they're loose. I don't want them to go everywhere. But basically, these are just blank sheets where you can test your child on all of the states and all of the capitals. So the books that do not come with this curriculum that you have to get as add-ons, or if you've been using My Father's World for a while, you'll already have them. Like I mentioned earlier, here's the In God We Trust, Trials and Triumphs, Exploring American History, and this one was black and white, but after you read it, it has lots of comprehensive questions. Can't talk. So that one's a good one. And then the last 500 years has lots of pretty pictures in here. So that is everything, all the flip throughs for this curriculum. All right, for math, we are using Saxon, Homeschool H7 with pre-algebra. Love it, love it, love it. We started using Saxon when my 7th grader was in 2nd, so we have been going, this is our 5th year using it. No complaints whatsoever. With Saxon Homeschool Math, 8-7 with pre-algebra, you get the test and worksheets, you get the solutions manual, and you get the workbook, or the lesson book. You don't write in here. You write it on notebook paper, so it's not like you get actual worksheets for each lesson. Let's show you. All right, here's what you're going to be learning this year from the table of contents. goes to lesson 19. And I'm trying to show you everything that is taught this year, because a lot of people say, oh, do I need to teach this? Do I need to jump to pre-algebra? Well, that is totally up to you and your child and how they are doing on their levels. But this is everything that is taught. And there is 120 lessons. There's 12 investigations that are in there. And then I'll show you what I'm talking about on here. Okay, there's your list of materials for each lesson that you're going to need. All right, here's lesson 1. All right, here's your warm-up that you go through. Here is the new concept that is taught. There's some examples. And then some more examples. And then here's your lesson practice. That is everything you have learned in just this lesson. And then as you go through there, you're going to have mixed problems, which is going to be a mixture of all the lessons you have learned throughout the year. So let me show you back here. Right here we're talking about slope. Then here's the new concept that we're learning. There's more examples. And then you get over here, and here is your practice set for this lesson. And then you get over here to mixed practice. And if you see there's little numbers under it right here, that tells you that came from lesson 92. So if you're having any questions or trouble, you can refer back to that lesson and go from there. That's what all those little numbers mean once you get to the mix practice on here. So there is the workbook or the book, and then your solution manual has all the answers that you're going to need in here, because believe me, I had to have a refresher course on a lot of math, and I'm really good at it, but like riding a bike, you just got to get back in there. And then here are the test and worksheets that it comes with. Like here are the time tests that you're going to go through, and it tells you use with lesson 1. And so the first several lessons starts off as just kind of a refresher, picking up where you left off last year, working on basics. Then, here's lesson 9 where you get into some equations. And then here it says use for lesson 10. And then it says tell you to use for test 1. So when you get to that, you're having a test. And so you go back here to the back where the tests are, after you get past all that, and it tells you your testing schedule. So you're going to have a test every 5 lessons. And then typically there are 20 of these on a test. 20 problems on a test. And it's just front page, no front and back. So you'll do a time test as well as this test. And that is everything that you get with Saxon 8-7 with pre-algebra. For our grammar, I'm using Growing with Grammar. I started using this when my 7th grader was in 3rd, and I have continued, and they go all the way to level 8. So once we get into high school, we'll have to do another language arts curriculum that I am loving, Growing with Grammar. Growing with Grammar Level 7 comes with your student's manual, their workbook, the answer key, and their tests. Typically, what I do is I take all of these tests out, I 3-hole punch them and put them in a notebook, which makes my life so much easier because I'm not having to keep up with stray pieces of paper or an envelope. So I just punch holes in them, and once you get to the test, it will tell you, take the test after this lesson. And typically the tests are front and back on 2 pages. Well, this one was it was a 3-page test. And see, then right here it tells you use after chapter review, part 2. Typically you will have 2 tests, one in the middle and one at the end of each of your units that you're going through. So, and then there is an answer key to the tests. Find it. The answer key for test is not in this answer key. That's just for the workbook. Here is your grading system that it tells you if they've missed what their grade will be. All right, and here's the answer key for test 1 and then 2. And this entire curriculum has 18 tests in here. So that covers the test and the answer key on that. Now here, this is basically their reading information that tells them what they're doing, shows them their examples. All right, everything that is covered in each chapter. All right, chapter 1 is parts of speech. Chapter 2 is more parts of speech. Chapter 3 is parts of a sentence. Chapter 4 is more parts of a sentence. As these curriculums go up in level, they go further in depth into things, which I love so much. Chapter 5 is the correct use of verbs, pronouns, and modifiers. Chapter 6 is phrases. Chapter 7 is clauses. Chapter 8 is agreement. And then chapter 9 is mechanics, vocabulary, and usage. So over here on chapter 1, so we are on lesson 1, or chapter 1, lesson 1. And they're going to read this. It's going to give them examples. And then we go to the next lesson. So I am going to show you what the workbook looks like, or worksheets look like for lesson 1-1. And typically these worksheets are front and back for each day. Here's worksheet 1-1. There you go. And then you're going to go on to the next lesson. And then for your answer key, we're going to go to lesson 1-1. And here, pages stuck together on me. Lesson 1-1, here you go. Here's your answers for everything that they are doing. Typically, what I do for my oldest, or my now 7th grader, is I let him read this. He reads all of it, and then he starts on the worksheet. And if he has any questions at that point, I will come help. I am trying to teach him to become an independent learner, which helps me because of my 2nd grader. but I'm always there to answer questions, but I want him to be able to teach himself and learn, and then I go back and check all of the answers in here. He doesn't get this, he just has this. So I get to go back and check and make sure that he's doing everything and understanding what he is doing. And then you get into the diagramming like this. Let's see, this is 4-8. Let me show you. I love the diagramming in here. He does not like the diagramming so much, but he will when he gets older. I think they benefit so much from the diagramming. See, so much diagramming going on. And with the way we talk and text these days, we don't really cover all of this in our everyday lives anymore, but I think it's so important to have this basic foundation of diagramming and grammar. So that was the flip through of Growing with Grammar. Off our language arts, I'm using Winning with Writing. This is working on their writing skills. The Winning with Writing curriculum comes with an answer key for first and second semester, and it comes with a first and a second semester workbook. This is weeks 1 through 18. This is weeks 19 through 36. So let's go to the table of contents so you can see it's a 36-week program. It has a lesson for every day of the week, 5 days a week. Here's the table of contents, what you're learning in each lesson. And each lesson is a week. And then you can see after your first 5 lessons, there's always a review. So every 5 lessons, a review, 5 lessons, a review, which I love. I know I say this in all my videos, but the spiral approach works well for my family. And that's why I use all of these curriculums. All right, so that is what is covered in the first 18 lessons. Let me show you what a couple lessons look like. They're short and to the point. You read a little bit, and then you do some work down here. There's lesson 1, day 2. Lesson 1, day 3. And then answer some questions. That's the rest of lesson 1, day 3. Sometimes it's front and back. Sometimes it's just the front or just the back. All right, here is lesson 1, day 4. And this is based off everything you have been working on and reading from the beginning of the week. And then you get over here to day 5. All right, and here, I love this curriculum. It breaks it down. It tells you how to do, your rough drafts, how to do all of that, outlines. And it's just the basic fundamentals of writing. And a lot of curriculums will just say write a paragraph, and sometimes they don't teach you how to do a paragraph or how to write a paragraph or how to write a report or anything like that. And that's why I love this one, because here's your rough draft. Then you're on day 2. And it's on then there's your final outline. And then this is your draft. So you're taking everything and copying it from your outline and putting it over here. Day 4, edit your rough draft. And then you're going to write your final copy on day 5. So I love it. It walks you through the process. It teaches you and then walks you through it. All right, so here we're going to start with our day 1, starting with your rough outline. Then you're going to come over here to your final outline, and you're going to take all of your thoughts and you're going to put them into actual sentences. There's your subtopics. And even make sure you're doing ending sentences. And then you're on subtopic 4. And then even make sure you're doing a concluding paragraph. Now you're going to come over here and you're going to write everything from your final paragraph or final outline on here. Gives you plenty of room to write. Then you're going to, day 4, you're going to edit it. And day 5, you're going to come over here and write your final draft. This is why I love this curriculum. It walks you step by step through it on what you need to do, what you need to know, on how to do a correct writing assignment. How you write your paragraphs correctly, how you write a complete essay, the steps you need to go through and follow. I'm trying to get to the review for this. That's why I'm just flipping through. All right, so now we are on lesson 6, day 1 review, and it's basically just answering questions, going back over everything you learned in the last 5 lessons. So typically it's just kind of 1-page short things to do on the reviews. Final outline. All right, so that was lessons 1 through 18. Let's see, 19 through 36, table of contents. It's typically the same thing, the layout all the way through. It's just covering different subjects and topics in your writing. So there's lesson 19. And see, here's your review after 19 through 23. And this is for your second semester. And if you need to go slower, then you can go slower. If you need to speed it up, you can speed it up. However you need to do it, you make this curriculum work for you. And that was the flip through of Winning with Writing Level 7. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm also using their Soaring with Spelling. This is my second year to use this one. It works really good for us. Soaring with Spelling Level 7 comes with your workbook and your answer key. So here is your workbook. All of their curriculums are the exact same way. The first day, or day 1, is when you do a practice test. Day 5 is when you have your spelling test. Here is the table of contents. So you're going to do 5 lessons, and then you're going to have a review. So here is everything that is covered, and a lesson is an entire week. So you're going to have lesson 1, excuse me, lesson 1, day 1 through 5. Just going to show you everything that's covered in this curriculum. All right, so here, I love this because both of my children are learning cursive or have learned cursive. We're currently working on that as well, but it's written in print here. It's also written in cursive, and here are all of the definitions. There are 16 words on here that you have each week, and there's also a place that you can carry over 4 words from the previous week. So if your children missed it on their spelling test and you want to make sure they know how to spell that word, then you can carry it over. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so day 1, this is lesson 1, day 1, and you're going to do a pretest. You're going to call out the words to them here on the pretest. They're going to write them here. And there are the place to correct them. I'm sorry, there's 18 words on here. And what I typically do is if they miss them here, I write them correctly here on this area, and then I make them write them 5 times each for the words that they miss, and that is our day 1. And then day 2, you have some worksheets to do here. Days 2, 3, and 4 will always change, but days 1 and 5 will be the same. It'll be a pretest and then a spelling test. That was day 2. Day 3. And typically it's just front and back. I mean, just 1 page a day that you do. Can't talk today, I'm sorry. And then here is your spelling test. You have 18 words here. Last year we had 16, so this year we have 18. And then here's where I was talking about the carryover words. So if they miss a word up here, you can write it down here for them. And then so when you're working on the next week, you can flip back and have the carryover words down here for you. And so here's lesson 2, the next week. And there's your pretest area. And then lesson 2, day 2. And see, I told you lessons 2, 3, and 4 are going to change up and be different. Here's day 2, lesson 2, focusing on the definitions. And then lesson 2, day 4. And then you take the spelling test. So I'm going to flip over to lesson 6 so you can see what a review looks like. We typically don't do a spelling test that week unless they're having lots of trouble with the words. If they do, then there's our spiral effect that's coming back that we can do a spelling test, but we go back over them just to make sure that nothing is forgotten. So that would be day 1. Here's day 2, day 3, day 4, and then day 5. So that is what the lessons and the review look like. And then over here in the answer key, we get to lesson 1. All right, the words are also in the answer key. So when you're doing the pretest or the spelling test, you have the words here so you don't have to write them down anywhere or flip back and forth in their workbook. And then here's the answers to the exercise you're doing on day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and then it gives you a place over here to use the carryover words from the previous week if you need that. So this is what the answer key looks like. And that was our flip through of Soaring with Spelling. And for handwriting, I am using The Good and the Beautiful. This is level 4. And the reason I got level 4 is because we were doing cursive and I took a break. If you don't know, my 7th grader is a lefty, so me trying to teach him how to write cursive was kind of a struggle when he was younger, so we just dropped it and we picked it back up. But I love the Good and the Beautiful's handwriting. It is awesome. Okay, sorry for the glare. All right, handwriting, the Good and the Beautiful, level 4. I love this curriculum. All right, it starts out showing you how to make all the letters. So if they need to refer back to the cursive version, the printing version, it's in here for them. But one of the things that I like so much is it's color-coded right here, and this is the order you follow, and then lift up your pencil. And that was a great thing to teach him when he was learning to write. Like right here, you start with the red, then you go to the orange, then to the yellow, and then to the green and blue, and so forth. So this level 4 focuses more on connecting the letters, where level 3 focused more on learning how to write the basic letters. And it always has some little fun activity in here that you can do. You're focusing on writing the, connecting the letters here, and it's still staying with the whole color thing, which helps. With him being left-handed, me being right-handed, it's kind of hard for me to show him how to actually do it. So it's taking us a little while, but the Good and the Beautiful has been amazing. We have used several writing curriculums for handwriting cursive with him, and we did not like them. They didn't really work. They stressed him out. And these are just short little pages that he can work on. Like there's some print in here that is combined to change it up a little bit. Lots of pretty poems, lots of pretty things to draw and to do. But this is a laid back, awesome curriculum. If you have one child that is struggling with writing, I highly recommend the Good and the Beautiful handwriting. And I'm gonna show you the difference here in just a second with level 3 versus level 4, because I had thought about getting him level 4 last year, and I did some research and I noticed this was more on the connecting of all the letters, where the other one was teaching the foundation of how to actually make the letters. And he can write his name in cursive, but when it comes to actually writing a bunch of words together to make sentences, we haven't gotten that far yet, but that's okay. So I'm just going to flip back here to the back just to show you a little more. Now we're really into sentences, and then it shows you the printed right here, and you have to write the cursive way. And so there's the printed way, and then you can draw pictures, you can color, trace, all of that, the different mazes. So it's not just all about forming the letters, it's just holding pencils and just taking your time and having fun on doing that. So you see this one focuses more on joining all of the letters, and then this is the level 3, just to kind of show you the difference. This one is focusing basically on learning how to create each letter, how to form them. So that is what I have noticed the major difference in level 3 and level 4, is that level 3 is teaching you the basics on how to make the letters correctly. And if you notice, they're not joined or anything over here. And then you do the big ones and the little ones in that type. And then get back all the way over here. Even in the back, you do form a few little short words, but it's nothing like it is in level 4. So level 4, you're writing big words and joining a whole bunch of letters. So I hope this flip through helps you. I hope it helps you to understand the difference between 3 and 4. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. I would love to answer any question that you have for me. As always, remember to be kind, be careful, be considerate, and have a great day. Bye.